Most cricketers think they have a technique problem. They do more drills and just hope for the best that something's going to fix. But it never quite does. Why is that? Hi, I'm James Breese and welcome to Blackboard Friday, where we share our systems and frameworks to help you become a better cricketer. And I want to share with you our system of where somebody first starts with us today. Because yes, we want to improve technique, but sometimes technique is the last thing that we want to change. Why is that? So I want to introduce you to our hourglass model, right? So if I look at the hourglass model up here, and I write this down, hourglass, right? People come into our system via two pathways normally. Number one is pain. They're in pain and they want to get out of pain. And the other way is performance. They want to become a better cricketer, quite simply. Now, both of these paths impact performance and they impact technique. So if I put technique right at the top here, right? Because that's the ultimate goal. Better technique, amongst other things, tends to improve performance, okay? So, pain will impact your technique because pain changes the way you move. Depending on how you move will impact how your technique performs, right? But we need to work out and assess where our starting point is before we get the right drill for the right person. We don't need more drills on the internet. There's 1,000,001 out there every single day. It's finding what drill is the right drill for the right person at the right time based on how their body moves. So let me explain the hourglass concept. So in the middle, we have movement, overall baseline movement, how somebody moves. Have you just noticed an athlete just glides into a room, looks like an athlete, walks like an athlete, talks like an athlete? It's an athlete. Some athletes just look better than others, and there's a reason for that because they just simply move well for their sport. So if we put movement in the middle, how well somebody moves impacts technique right at the top here, okay? So movement impacts technique. But what if somebody can't move? What if they're in pain? So this is where they come down. So if we think of our hourglass model like this, let's see if my drawing's coming here now. Good. I will improve one day, I promise you. So someone's in pain. They're coming down to the bottom of the hourglass where we're going to look at clinical screening. Clinical screen, okay? We want to work out why they're in pain and kind of figure out what the best path of action is going to be for them. So this could mean breakouts as to, okay, we found out there's pain in their right hip. Well, why is there pain in their right hip? Is something else causing that? Or we may even refer out. Refer out, you tend to be sometimes go and see a medical professional because it may need surgery or something along those lines. So they come into pain, we're going to the bottom of the hourglass, first and foremost to identify where the problem is, see if we can solve this issue, which may be a tight hip, a restricted hip joint, or maybe just tight muscles, or a slight grade 1 tear or strain. Whatever it is, we're looking at these areas first because we need to fix them before we go into the world of performance. Now performance, they enter here, so we know we can't do some of the movement screens, so we drop down here into pain. The performance, they start into the middle here. We assess what we call global movements, movements that every human being should be able to do. For example, can they touch their toes? Because if they can't touch their toes, which is a basic motor control skill, okay, is a basic human skill, how are they expected to perform highly complex techniques up the top here? Batting and bowling it's a sequence of highly complex movements stringed together, okay? So if they can't touch their toes, which will tend to mean they can't extend at their hips, which means they're going to potentially go into lateral flexion if they're bowling, or they're going to struggle to stand in alignment when they're trying to bat. We're going to have to open up early at the hips potentially when they're batting. So it's complex and it can be quite interesting here, but the key is we need to screen baseline movement first based around human everyday function. Then we go up to cricket movement. Okay? So we then go up to this area. So if I draw the hourglass up here again, right? So it's the hourglass kind of philosophy here. Cool. They move well. They can touch their toes. They can do a basic squat. They can lunge, they can step, they can balance on one leg. Fantastic. That's baseline movement clearance test done. They do that well. Well, let's go into specific cricket movements. Now, a really good example on this is a lot of cricketers, batters particularly, they need to have what's called the X factor. They're able to separate their lower half and disassociate the lower half from the upper half of their body. A lot of the time, cricketers can't. That's our pelvic rotation tests that we try and do. I'll do that in another video. But the key is we go from global movement screening to cricket-specific screening. Are they fit for the task of cricket? Another one in batting is super tight lats. If they can't move their lats effectively and accordingly, how do you expect them to complete their shots when they're playing a cover drive? That's why you never see a lot of people, particularly older cricketers, struggle to complete and extend through their shots because their lats just won't let them go. So we're looking at cricket-specific movements, because if this and this aren't doing well in terms of specific movements, we know that the best people can do these things easily to perform their technique at the top. So if we know they have tight lats here, it's going to impact that technique specifically, because we know tight lats will stop you from completing your cover drives, which means you probably check the shots, you don't move your hands back well enough. It's a multiple factors going on here. So cricket movement skills is a key foundational concept here. We then go into base athletic skills. Can they jump? Can they jump 110% of their height? Can they jump on one leg? Again, a huge factor. A lot of bowlers struggle with back foot contact because they don't know how to transfer energy. They can't do what we call a 2-1-2 bound or multiple single leg hops in a row. They just can't transfer energy. So if we're trying to fix back foot contact, which is a technique issue, well, if they can't jump off one leg, they've got no power, they've got no core control because their hips won't allow them to move, well, how are we going to fix their back foot contact up here? More drills is not the solution. It's actually making things worse most of the time. So we go movement quality first, global movement. We then look at cricket-specific movements. We then look at baseline athleticness, or athleticism, that's probably a better word. And then we look at more advanced athletic skills, advanced skills in terms of athleticism, right? So we're going up the chain, because the better we are at each of these levels, right, the more it's going to impact technique. So everyone wants to jump to technique at the top here and just hope for the best. Follow one of the 1,000,001 drills you're seeing on the internet right now. That's just guesswork most of the time. We want to fast track this, and this is why we see so many cricketers come into us who are just feeling struggle. They've tried 2, 3, 4, 10 years plus, right, trying to improve, and they're constantly struggling. The question is why? And there's no one right answer for every single person. It always depends. But in our system, using the hourglass type framework here, we help them identify where that root cause is, and we try and help them fix it. Now, this is based on fundamental motor control skills, fundamental movement patterns, baseline athleticism, going into baseline advanced athletic skills, right? They all impact technique. Yes, we will keep working on technique, trying to help them bowl better, hit better, when they're batting. But the point is, we always go and address these areas first, which tends to be away from the field, away from nets, because they have the biggest carryover. And we know that from other sports too, in terms of athletic development. So if you can't move well, if you can't do a basic squat, right, which is a fundamental motor control skill, how are you going to do advanced motor control skills at the top? If you can't rotate, right, we do a simple rotation test. Can you rotate left and right, which is a cricket-specific skill, and disassociate your lower half from the upper half of the body? How are you going to perform a sweep shot, right? Again, I'm not a big fan of a lot of old cricketers doing the sweep shot, not because I don't want them doing it, right? It's because their body will not let them do it in the first place. It gets them into more trouble out in the middle. So we've got to address these rotational issues first before we can actually go into the actual technique of doing it, but also helping them score more runs on the Saturday. Because sometimes if we have pain or we have long-term injuries or past surgeries, taking certain shots out of your game is probably the wisest option, because they're more likely to get you into trouble, right? Again, Alistair Cook, great example. He had 3 shots basically, didn't he? scored a shed load of runs because he knew his game inside out. Most of us don't. But at the same time, when it comes to technique, based on what our body can do, we can identify which cricketers we need to follow, because certain cricketers move a certain way because of their body types and what their bodies allow them to do. And if your body doesn't allow you to do a certain thing, why try and follow A.B. de Villiers or Kane Williamson, right? Maybe it's more of an Usman Khawaja style where he's a bit more open when he's batting, as an example, to help you get to where you want to get to. So there's no one right way to do something in cricket. But I think it comes from the starting point of understanding what the limitations or what the best traits of your body can do and focus on them to identify what the technique is at the top here, or identify what's going on. Now, I hope that makes sense. This is the hourglass model that we try and do, but the point is we assess whether they're coming in through pain first or performance-related questions first. We assess on baseline movement skills. By the way, a great one for the kids out there. Can they skip forwards and backwards? Parents out there, I dare you to get your kids to try and skip forwards and then backwards and see how they move. Because why should we try and give them complex technical skills if they haven't had the foundation of basic athleticism here, which is skipping forwards and backwards? I hope that makes sense. It gives you another idea into the insight of our training system here at Cricket Matters. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for another video of Blackboard Friday.